Good evening, and welcome to the Caring View, the online health and social care platform free to access to absolutely everybody. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and give us a follow on any platform that you are currently watching us on. www.thecaringview.co.uk for all of our resources, past episodes, and everything about us, our sponsors, and the people that we work with. Everything we do at the Caring View is completely free. We will never charge you a dime for anything that you get from us. And the only reason we can do that is we have fabulous sponsors throughout the sector who are supporting us on this journey. So without further ado, and you probably know all of these by now because you watch us religiously every week when we're on, don't you? So we have Prosperwell, the UK's leading digital marketing agency, www.prosperwell.co.uk. If you miss any of these websites throughout the show, do go to our website. You can catch them all there, or better yet, rewatch the episode later on. We have CBAT, Care Business Associates Training, for all of your healthcare training requirements. They offer a variety of clinical, healthcare, workplace training, high performance leadership, train the trainers, and chaps. We have got Attis Care by Attis Insurance Brokers for your comprehensive care and proactive risk management. They're also a helpful voice at the other end of the line, helping you navigate this murky water of insurance, finding the right people for you. We've got Log My Care, the intuitive care management platform loved by complex care providers all around the country. And they do have a freemium version, a try before you buy. Mark, it's done it again for me where it's not gone live. And I think we are live, but it's doing that weird tech thing for me. So on your end, please just keep an eye on it for me. So yeah, if you are just edging out into the world of digital care platforms, or you want to try something new, check out Log My Care. We've got Health Automated and Learningment, both powerhouses of Jack White, AI-powered softwares, AI-powered care planning, AI-powered training. AI is going nowhere. So, you know, if you are thinking, actually, I want to try something a bit AI-focused, give these two platforms a go. We have got Florence, directly connecting healthcare professionals and organizations with shifts and training around the country. And last but not least, we have Every Step Consultancy, transforming care services with tailored consultancy, turnaround management, coaching, and compliance support. Good evening, Mark. Good evening, Anoushka. How are you both?
Good, thank you, Adam. How are you?
I'm really good, but Mark, I am contemplating going back to StreamYard because this is really winding me up on this streaming platform that we are using right now.
Are we good, Mark?
Is Mark there?
I am here. Sorry, I was in the background, and I had YouTube playing in the background, and I was like on repeat. Anyway, it's not gone live to LinkedIn again for some reason. So yeah, I feel your pain, and I can't get it to go live for some reason. But it is live on all other platforms.
Well, we'll share it back out on LinkedIn after this. I thought you were thinking about your pizza, Mark. I thought you were thinking about, I wonder where I'm going to get a slice of that pepperoni.
I was thinking about your pizza.
I know, the drama of this evening. I'm surprised I'm here in one piece. I'm not going to lie. And then to top it off, the wife and the kids are all going to come home in a minute, so we'll all go a bit manic again. It's all good. It's all good.
Well, Mark, maybe tonight's show will help you. I think tonight's show is going to help many people out there. Tonight we're donated. We are joined by Anoushka, who is dedicated to transforming wellbeing in the care sector. Anoushka, you've launched Thrive Together to help care teams overcome emotional exhaustion and burnout, fostering resilience, trust, and connection. Through practical tools like EFT, mindful breathing, and guided journaling, your workshops help empower team members to feel calm, supported, and reconnected with their purpose. Now, we were just discussing offline before we got started that there's a huge focus now on employee well-being and team well-being through regulation, through external stakeholders. But it really should be something ingrained with us anyway. It should be something that is priority to us for our teams. And I'm hoping that tonight you're going to bring all the answers for us that we can go away and go, right, we're going to use your workshops, we're going to get in touch with Anoushka, but also we're going to implement some of the stuff we've learned tonight within our team. So for those who don't know you, Anoushka, quick background. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
This is often the hardest thing to actually explain, but I can certainly talk about why well-being is an interest of mine. Some people may know me from my care technology background. I've been around the care sector for a while within technology companies as a marketer, but in the background and for many years, well-being has been a massive passion of mine, kind of forced into being a passion of mine because I had to kind of generate some interest to support myself, but also seeing my parents grow up within, as a child, seeing my parents within the care sector, working within the care sector from an early age, I noticed that they were often quite burnt out, quite overwhelmed, and juggling so many different roles, wearing different hats. My father was a learning disabilities regional director. My mum was a registered nurse turned CQC trainer turned registered manager, just constantly shifting roles, trying to keep all the balls in the air, essentially. My dad died of a heart attack when I was just 8 years old, and looking back, I could see stress. Now, in hindsight, I can see stress, overwhelm, emotional exhaustion. Stress and emotional exhaustion are two very separate things. We'll talk about that later. But I can see that now as a grown-up, that I don't think they had the tools to care for themselves. So well-being was always something that I had some kind of interest in, basically because I wanted to know how could we have avoided that horrible trauma in my life. So that's kind of where well-being entered my life, and I became quite intrigued about what keeps us well physically, mentally, emotionally, what keeps us well spiritually, what keeps us happy, things like that. What keeps us from experiencing or being able to manage trauma in a more positive way? How do we kind of learn from what we've experienced and manage life in a more positive way? So that's where well-being kind of came into my life. And then throughout my work in the care sector, I've noticed it. I've worked with people, I've seen within care environments how people are kind of totally overwhelmed, overworked. During COVID, we saw a massive increase in awareness around health and social care well-being. And it shouldn't have happened so late in the day. It's always been a problem. It wasn't just in 2020, 2021, but certainly that kind of spurred me into creating a program for care workers. And that's when I first launched Care for Carers. So I've kind of come back to it and I've put an extra layer on it. And now it kind of involves different things as well. And relaunched it as Thrive Together. So that's kind of how I got here today, and delighted to be able to talk about it a bit more on the Caring View.
Well, I'm really excited for tonight's show. It's right up my alley. Most people know that my partner Stephen's a holistic medium, so he's a psychic medium, but he also does holistic therapies, very sort of Ayurvedic sort of stuff, very natural, very grounded, very earthly way of living, and that's sort of fed back into my life now. So gained lots of trauma from when I was a kid, and probably unprocessed trauma. I've just come off 15 weeks worth of therapy where I've really been unpacking that trauma and sort of tackling it head on. But all of this, I think, is really important. And I think in the world that we live in now, when we think about well-being and we think around workplace well-being, there's so much in life where society as itself needs to heal. And as a society, we need to do better for well-being. We don't watch much TV. If we do, we watch streaming services. And I'm too cheap to pay for the premium version. So I do get adverts now, which I've not seen an advert for donkeys. And I'm seeing these adverts, and every other advert is either an alcohol advert or a gambling advert. And I'm like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm proud and sober, but like, we live in this world where it's like, look after yourself. Well-being, mental health well-being, but gamble all your money.
Yeah.
All your money and drink loads of alcohol. And I'm like, we're trying to tell our society right now to be better and to be healthier and to look after themselves. But we're literally tempting them at every single angle. I feel like, please don't take this blasphemous, anyone listening to this, but I feel like I need to go into the temple and turn over the gambling tables. It's like, we were talking about it in the Bible thousands of years ago, and yet we're still there now. And we're still encouraging this negative lifestyle. And Mark, we joked about wanting a slice of your pizza and everything like that when it arrived. But low vibrational foods, like, I've tried to eradicate them from my life now. And again, I feel like I'm preaching because I've lost all this weight, but I do all this work to make myself feel better. Why would I then put in really sort of processed negative energy food? Because that's just going to drag me down. But then you want to go and buy organic and you want to go and buy healthy, and it's mega expensive. And in the climate that we're currently in, it's hard to live like that. So I think, Anoushka, what you're doing to be able to provide the basic skills for people is priceless, because the other stuff can be out of reach for people. It literally is financially out of reach. So this stuff is super important. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Oh, brilliant. And I actually, on that point, in terms of nutrition, it can be very much out of reach for people to be able to make the right choices when it comes to food and nutrition. But this kind of work, we go a little bit deeper under the surface. It's about energy. It's about the energy that we carry. The concept of being an empath is that people that are drawn to this world of social care and health and social care work that is of a caring culture is kind of how I've coined the phrase, because it's any kind of service giving profession tends to attract the empath to that kind of role. We have a calling to give service, and what that also means is that we are magnetically drawn to people that are low vibrational. We want to help, we want to support. We get drawn to pain. We want to help and support and alleviate that pain from people. So what we're doing is absorbing negative energy, and then we feel like eating junk food and and pigging out on things, because actually we are like attracts like. We're kind of drawn to having those things, those comfort foods that kind of help us feel better. So it is a vicious cycle, but there are things that you can do to raise your vibration so that you're not in that space, and cleansing that energy so that we're not constantly pouring from, as you know, that phrase, we can't pour from an empty cup. If we're depleting ourselves of this empathic superpower, we need to be able to top up into higher vibration. That means things like gratitude, love, peace, joy, all of those sorts of things can actually take us into a better place before we've even touched any food.
Yeah.
It's the layer beneath that is really important, and something that can start simply by sharing across teams and finding positive connection within our teams.
Yeah. I feel like I need Stephen on this podcast. No offense, Mark. I think you're going to be great on it. I feel like I should have brought Stephen with me tonight, because if I was to put myself in Stephen's shoes now, because both Stephen and I are empaths, I'm probably a lot more empathic than Stephen is, but we also live in this mindset, and I've learned this, something that I've done a lot throughout my years, is give, and sort of rescue people. And that's one of the downsides of being an empath, is trying to be a rescuer and trying to rescue people, and that in itself is draining, and it's incredibly draining. And it's more for me now trying to guide people in being able to help themselves rather than doing for, because it takes away a lot of their independence if you are constantly trying to fix things for them. But the other part of my work that I try and do with others is also try and remove them from that victim mentality as well. Because I'm also quite stoic. And if I have to hear people and they go, but I've done all of this and I'm not famous, or I've not got the money and I've not got this. And I'm like, okay, and what? Like, we're not entitled to anything in life. And it's a hard mentality to have, but always trying to compare. And we know that comparison is a thief of joy, and all of that, always benchmarking ourselves against others, drains us of our light as well. Yeah. Because we forget to actually go, well, actually, it's okay not being perfect. It's okay being me. It's okay having what I've got. I would like more, but I'll just try harder, or I'll just change the way that I'm doing things. And it all of that, for me, affects who I am as an individual. And then if I'm not careful, I project my inners out. And then that affects the people that I'm around, because I'm feeling crappy. I'm projecting that out, and if there are other empaths around me, they are then feeling crappy because I'm giving out that crappy energy. And it's a difficult place to be, and to play with those frequencies and energies. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, well, we just hit on something that's really important there. Essentially, if you're walking into your care environment with the weight of the world on your shoulders, having not taken care of your own energy, with husband, children at home, worries, stresses, health issues, if we're carrying that, and we put a big smile on our face because we're great care workers, right? So we're going to come in, and this also goes for managers, leaders, supervisors as well. We are here to serve, and we're showing up with our can-do attitude, and we're hiding all of this stuff. It's invisibly, it's coming into the care home with us, and without us even realizing it, we're pouring that into our residents. And that's the key thing here, is that when CQC are recognizing that wellbeing is part of delivering good care, they're onto something, believe it or not, because actually it is. Because when you have well care workers, where you have a team that's firing on all cylinders, that's full of loving, high vibrational energy, that have really understood what they're feeling, they've shared out whatever's going on, they feel connected within their team, they are thriving together and happy to come to work and authentically come into work with exactly what's going on for them, having, you know, done some work as a team, then the residents are going to get the very best version of them, and they are going to get better care. Because when Mrs. Miggins is feeling low and confused and angry and irritated and distressed, the person that shows up with perfectly clean, clear, calm energy, and it hasn't got the weight of the world on their shoulders, is showing up with proper compassion and empathy for that resident in a way that you couldn't have had if you came in emotionally exhausted and your cup completely empty and depleted. So that's kind of the point. It is, although we kind of started off there on I hope people haven't switched over thinking vibration, what's this all about? But, you know, it feeds into this, because that's actually where it's all at. It's below the surface, below the pizza, below the low vibrational food. It's even deeper than that. It's before we even get to food. It's actually about how we carry ourselves and the energy, the emotions that we bring to work every day. I think it was Julie Burton that had something earlier that really stuck. I think it's actually on her WhatsApp. I'm going to give her a shout out now. She has something on her WhatsApp photo that I thought was brilliant. Instead of asking, have I worked hard enough to deserve to rest? I've started asking, have I rested enough to do my most loving, meaningful work? I mean, I saw that today and I thought, wow, that's her profile picture. Sorry, Julie, to share that. But that's just perfect, isn't it? It's when you've rested well and you are firing on all cylinders, you're showing up as your very best self and you're giving your very, very best to those residents and to your teammates and to your managers and to the cleaners and the cooks and everybody else, the family members that come in. You know, it's this 360 holistic, beautiful energy within the home, and you'll feel that as you walk into a care home where staff are firing on all cylinders, connected, thriving, enjoying the work that they do. There are a few people that spring to mind when I think of that. When you walk into their care home, you get that vibe, and that's what you want, because you know that those are the outstanding care homes. Yeah,
no, definitely. Mark, I'm going to bring you in.
Yes, listening there, and I think that there will be a number of care homes that do it really well for their care staff, and I think because we know that CQC are looking for that, I think we know that wellbeing is such a vital part of society. But I think my worry is that actually the managers that don't necessarily have that, so I think that they'll be having their care staff come in and talking about whether they've had a rubbish morning on the school run or whatever, and de-escalating and going back out onto the shop floor, so to speak, doing a great job. They're held with all of those emotions, or even their own emotions, if they've had a crap morning on the way to work, or somebody phoned them, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning because a few rounds have gone down and they've got to cover it on bits and pieces, and all of that stress. And I think that's the key, is actually where do the leaders within social care go to talk about kind of that? Because I think there's still that massive gap from kind of maybe senior leadership teams, extended leadership teams, to those registered managers, to, you know, people like in your role, Adam, those quality leads, the nominated individual, those kind of management-y roles are the ones that are quite often left without anything.
Yeah, I completely agree, Mark. And I think staff culture starts from the top. It has to be. And going back to, sorry to bring my personal experience into it, going back to my dad, the example that I saw, which was that constantly showing up with a smile on your face and doing the very best and giving and giving and giving. Actually, we need to care for our leaders as well, because actually the leaders are the ones that are often overburdened and painting on the smile for everyone else, making sure that everyone else is okay. It's the leaders that actually need to really unpack some of that stuff. So when we lift the lid on, how are you feeling today? This is where some of the tools of Thrive Together come in. How are you managing that stuff? Because once we've got our managers in a place where they are whole, healthy and complete, they're going to lead better teams. They're going to lead by example, and actually their energy is going to ripple out to their team as well. And then it ripples out to the residents. It is a win-win. Definitely. So this is another big change that I made. Care for Carers Mark 1 was more just for care workers and then recognizing that actually, and putting the two cohorts of people in separate rooms, and actually realizing it's not about keeping them in separate rooms, it's about having everyone together. That means the leaders, that means the care home owners, even, the whole organization can be in one room thriving together, because it's that ripple effect of energy that's going to create that outstanding care home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that whole turn up to work with a smile on your face as a manager is so, like, I'm very honest with my team, with the managers that I have, but also in the wider team. And I think it's really helped them understand kind of some of the bits and pieces that I'm going through. And I think if I had to turn up every day with a smile on my face, I mean, half the time I've got a bloody migraine and there's no way I can turn up with a smile on my face. But I don't know actually how I'd have coped. I mean, definitely without the 2 registered managers I've got underneath me, taking, when I've had a really bad day, taking that from me, being able to then roll with some of those bits. But I also think it helps your team see you as an actual person, as opposed to somebody that's always kind of on that pedestal, always turning up. Everybody's human at the end of the day, and everybody's got something going on in life. And I think if you're more relatable to your team, they're more likely to understand what you're going through. B, I think they'll support you through that as well. If you've got a really good team around you, it's all about being one. And I've always said, I think we're all a cog in a machine. The end result is the person you're looking after, but we all have that cog role in there. And actually, we can all dip in out of our roles and what we're doing in bits and pieces. And actually, if you need a senior care worker to do a meeting with a social worker because you're not 100% as a manager, then that's fine for that senior member of staff to do that and to let go of certain bits and pieces. I've had my managers having to go into, the meetings with senior leadership team just because I've not been 100%, and I know I wouldn't be able to pitch a case study or something that we want to do or a paper in the best possible way, whereas actually they've got the 100% energy on that particular day, so can do that.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it has, the boundaries between frontline staff and leadership are in the organisations where teams are thriving. There is more of a blur. There isn't a hierarchy as such, and the leaders are much more open door and much more willing to speak more openly and honestly with their staff. And I think when those boundaries are blurred, that's when people feel much more comfortable. Certainly frontline staff feel valued by their managers, and vice versa. There's trust, there's connection. And I think that goes for all organizations, not just in care. When you've got more of I don't want to say flat structure, but a structure that isn't hierarchical, you find that teams respect each other more. They are happy to do the work. They don't feel they don't feel intimidated by their managers, and there is just a more peaceful, more connected environment in general. I think that goes across the board. I don't think that's anything exclusive to care, but definitely people within. I think actually, Mark, you were saying right before this, there are people outside of care that have really got a grip of this whole concept of well-being, and particularly team culture, probably more so than we have in the care sector. And that, I don't want to believe that that's true, but I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I truly do. And I think even the NHS, I think, does a really bad job in terms of prioritising well-being and mental health with the people that work there, if at all grades within the NHS, which seems really bizarre. Because again, it's kind of put on that pedestal. It's spoken about so much, like you said, during the pandemic, it was there left, right and centre. And I do feel like the pandemic then eased out, social care and healthcare kind of stopped, and insurance and retail, all these other companies. And whether that's because they can offer those work-life balances and the flexible working, and then just some of those support tools, I don't know. I think social care has such a tight budget anyway, then being able to do anything additional above and beyond. And I don't think you always need to spend money. I think you can be inventive with what you've got. But I think we're competing with a lot of sectors that can do a lot of, events for staff, putting on different things. You see on social media in terms of what some of the tech companies are doing with their staff and away days, and some of them are, abroad and bits and pieces. And there's no way that we can compete with that.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between perks and well-being, though. I think throwing gifts and perks and holidays and away days. I say throwing. I don't mean throwing. Giving these sorts of things to staff is lovely. I don't think that ticks the well-being box as such. They're just We
Well,
value
nice
you.
to
We're going
haves,
to treat
aren't
you
they?
nice to have,
Yeah.
and we're going to treat you nicely because we value you. But really valuing someone, in my opinion, would be that care home manager opens the door and says, "Come sit and have a cup of tea with me. Tell me what's going on. Are you okay?" You know, there's a difference. There's a well-being conversation that is forming emotional connection, and there are financial perks, and I think they're two separate things.
Yeah, there's definitely something around those three words that are so simple to say, but we don't often say them often enough, and it is, how are you? Even if we're just having a meeting, supervision, disciplinary, things like that have to happen, but actually just starting off with, how are you? In a supervision, they're probably nervous because they don't know whether it's good or bad. In disciplinary, they're panicking because they may have done something out of turn and there may be repercussions for it. They're going to be going through some stuff. Ask them how they are. Let them, make them feel comfortable, invite them to be comfortable in that space. Because, and so we're doing some work in one of our homes in Leicester, and in fact, I'm heading down to Leicester tomorrow to see them. And we did something around thank yous, and not just a case of thank you, like, oh, thank you. It was, thank you. This has helped me because of this.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you because this has done this. And actually showing someone the impact that the thank you has given, that the work they've done, or whatever it is that's happened that you're saying thank you for, it's not hollow. Thank you. I now feel better at doing this because of what you've shown me. Or thank you. I feel more comfortable in my role because of X, Y, and Z because of this. And get some impact and outcome around those thank yous. And it was a really emotional sort of thing. And I won't delve much deeper into it because it's fully protected space for us. But I really took away that thank you side of things. And it's something that I'm bringing into everything that I do, because I'm thinking, well, actually, yeah, we can say thank you, great work, well done. But actually, thank you, this person is living a much happier life now because of the work that you've done on activities, for example.
Awesome.
Oh, do you know what? Great one. Because you're giving that. And we don't do things for recognition. We don't do it for validation. We don't do it to feed ego. But actually, we do need to understand sometimes, if we are saying thank you for something, what impact that person's roles had, because it helps with their understanding as well.
That's a perfect little segue into the tools, because gratitude is one of the tools that I talk a lot about. I love what you did there. But, I love what you've done there, because that's gratitude with purpose. It's not just, and I talk about gratitude work a lot, and it is one of the tools that I use. But when I talk about gratitude, I say it's not about list writing. It's not about, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my car. That means nothing, because it's not hitting my heart. That you could well be grateful for your house and your car and your husband and your wife. You can be grateful for those things, but until you're actually giving it a why, like you just demonstrated there, it doesn't have any frequency, because you haven't given it an emotion yet. So what I mean by that is, one of the things that we did that was really powerful within the new workshops is giving each other affirmation. In the past, I talked about gratitude. What are you, like feeling gratitude for the things in your life, and making this just about the person. And what I've done in Thrive Together is actually extend that outwards. What is it that you are grateful for, Adam, that Mark, what are you grateful for within this friendship? And just the moment that you say, Mark, I'm really grateful to you because you're always there for me when this stuff happens, or you didn't realize that when you said that, you really lifted my spirits because I was feeling really rubbish that day. Once you've done that, Mark feels amazing. There's a different frequency in the room. And honestly, when you start pinballing this around the room in a workshop experience, the tears that came out of the workshop were amazing, like happy tears, real emotion, where people were sharing to each other how much they appreciated one another, not out of ego, like to big each other up, out of humility more than anything, is just appreciating one another. That is gratitude on steroids, because you're absolutely feeling it, you're embodying it, and you're sharing it with another human. So you're not even keeping it to yourself, you're rippling that out. And that is the gratitude work in action, which you can't do sitting behind a screen and just say, well, you can, the Thrive Together workshop can happen behind a screen as well, but the point is by yourself.
Yeah,
you can do the work by yourself, but when you do that within a team, it's 10 times more powerful, because suddenly you're understanding one another, you're giving each other affirmation, you're supporting one another, and that does something to a team. It just brings everyone together.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's
Why don't you do it now?
one another, isn't it?
Why you're grateful for him.
Mark, I'm grateful for you because without you, we would not have the Caring View, because you book all our shows every week and I'm a flake and I don't do it myself. So without you, the show would not be what it is. We would not have our guests and we would not have the viewership that we deserve.
And to your point about saying that you were a flake, I would challenge that and say that as a partnership, this works very well because you complement one another in your strengths.
Oh.
So there, some affirmation to throw back.
We'll have a sleepover, Mark, and we'll eat marshmallows and watch chick flicks. I feel like I'm in that sort of mood now.
Bring back those millennial films like Mean Girls, some of Lindsay Lohan films.
Oh yeah,
Hilary Duff.
Oh, yeah. Mean Girls. She's the man. Cinderella Story.
Yeah, they're good films.
Oscar winning. I don't know why they didn't get more awards. Anoushka, so really, I love that whole gratitude piece. And I think if I'm listening to this now and I'm a manager and I'm thinking, oh, I've got a team meeting in a couple of weeks, is that something I can introduce to a team meeting? Can I can I cold turkey it? Can I just go, boom, we're going to do affirmations today? Or do I need to do a bit of build up with my team? Do I need to start sowing the seeds of the work that we want to do?
I think that there is you can pick up these tools and use them in the home. I think what makes the workshop space and time very precious is that everyone comes together. There's an understanding around the reasons why you're here. I kind of framed the whole topic around emotional exhaustion to get everyone aware of why this is important, because just handing people these tools, they're not going to know why this is important or why they need to do it. But being able to pin personal experience on what emotional exhaustion, one of the things that I do is point out some of the symptoms of emotional exhaustion, and people can identify and say, oh yeah, I get that. I have the insomnia and I overeat sometimes, and whatever it might be, those things will come up and you'll have identification with it. So it kind of frames why this could be important and allow people to see the things in their life that they would like to potentially change, i.e., irritability or feeling drained, feeling exhausted, whatever it might be, to then realize, oh yeah, I wanted to make some changes there, so I'm going to give this stuff a go. I think it's and also having that space where the team are together. It's not always possible, and obviously you do have to kind of pick and choose who can be on and off shift, but that dedicated space and time is where that magic happens. I would say that you can obviously use some of these things in your day, in your team meetings, but it would be a case of accountability around, would anyone do it, and how do you kind of follow up on what's working and what's not? And what I found is that when I've run this workshop over a good chunk of time, we've gone from really not knowing where we're going with this, thinking that it might just be about I think the first group was saying that they thought that this was going to be about team building. Yeah, they came in and said, I thought it was like a team building activity, and they had no idea what it was going to be about. And then by the end of it, was completely blown away by what they gained from it. So it was kind of a journey. So on the one hand, yes, you can definitely have elements of this that you can incorporate in your team meetings, but dedicating a bit of time to it, I would suggest, is really, really important.
I think there's some importance there around, we spoke about earlier, actually, who's going to then chair it. It's probably likely then going to be the manager or the deputy, who are the ones that probably need it themselves more than a lot of the other team. And I guess, like if I thought about my team doing it, would there be buy-in from the manager themselves that's doing it? And then is it really meaningful? But also, if somebody says something, they say it. The benefit, I think, of having somebody like you, Anoushka, hosting it is that they can draw out the feelings behind the words. And if there's somebody in that team that you can that might think it's a bit woo-woo or a bit out there or something else, somebody like you would be able to bring them into that, as opposed to them just sitting there, because I think, we're probably not skilled in getting somebody involved if we know that they don't want to be involved, because we know them more on a personal level. So yeah, I can definitely see the benefit of involving an external person.
And also it means that the person, if you're doing it as a team meeting, you're not then allowing yourself to get involved as much as you could be. having a third party would enable that third party person to not probe the manager, but also encourage them to perhaps dig into areas that they've identified might need to be brought to the surface, for example.
And also, let's not sugarcoat this as well. Sometimes the managers aren't actually in a place to be able to do that themselves because they're probably a barrier. The managers themselves are probably not in a sort of cognitive space to be able to allow these positive affirmations, to allow that sort of work to be done, because I'm not saying that they're the problem, but they're part of the culture. And actually, there's that piece of work that needs to be done with your leaders to get them into that position so that they can allow for that safe space. They can allow for people to come in. You know, how many managers have told us in the past they've got an open door policy? I've got an open door. I've got an open door. And then people come in and they go, sorry, I don't have the time for that right now. It's not work related. Oh, no, I don't. No, come back later. Or and you go, well, I've got an open door policy because people can come in whenever. Yeah, but you turn them away.
Are you guilty of that, Mark? I'm going to just grab my charger. So I'm going to turn my
video
on.
Go grab your charger. That's fine. Am I guilty of what? Say that again, Adam? I was too busy messaging Anoushka in the background.
Are you guilty of saying you've got an open door policy and then shooing people away? Just while you're thinking on that, so you can fake an answer. I'm joking. Teresa's coming in the chat saying that the words "thank you for your hard work" to the team or telling a team member how proud you are of their achieving is huge. And again, that goes back to the gratification side of things. Yeah, open door policies, Mark.
No, I've got like a truly open door policy. And I think one thing I've found really hard is when I had my driving license revoked is I oversee 3 services, plus I've got the head office. So I go to all of those services once a week. When I lost that license, that's the thing I missed was being with the team. And although I knew that they could dial me on Teams or fight, it just wasn't the same as being there present. And I think I've never been one for having a separate office or, you know, like where I am. I just sit in with like the planning staff or the senior staff or the local managers or with the registered manager, and the carers come in and bits and pieces. And I truly believe that then you get a feel of the service. And I'll be honest, you know, this year we had some anonymous whistleblowings internally, and touch wood. I mean, I say touch wood, you know, actually the team are doing a great job. All of them were unfounded. But as soon as they came in and the senior leadership team approached me, I said, my gut tells me that none of this is true. So we had somebody come in and do an external investigation for, you know, so it was done properly. And so it wasn't done by somebody, you know, within the team. But I knew because I'd been in that team and sat with them each week that what the whistleblowing was saying was 100% categorically not true. And I think if I was sat in an office, you know, upstairs away from them or out of that main room where they're all sat, I wouldn't know that. And had that have come in, I would have, you know, I might have second guessed it and thought, and I think then that has the ripple effect that your team almost feel like you don't have their back. And I think straight away I was very honest with the team and said, look, we've got this, we're going to have somebody come in and it might be a bit, you know, difficult for you because she's going to ask you questions and she's going to ask you about, you know, leadership of some of the management team here, and she's going to ask you how you feel and blah, blah, blah. She's going to go and meet, you know, like 30% of the frontline staff and ask them with the same questions, but be very honest. And for the managers that it was about, very quickly I was able to say to them, you know, we've had it, we need to go through a process. My gut tells me that this isn't true. So feel reassured that as a senior manager, I don't feel this within the office space around, you know, the environment and the culture. And it was unfounded, but I think it has such a massive detrimental effect. And I think I think maybe it helps where I've come from an operational, you know, frontline role of not being able to have that open door, that I know what it's like if you need support. And even in my role now, I always say to the managers that I've got ever since I've been a registered manager, I don't need you. Like, I feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing with the people we support and the team. But if I do need you, then I want you there. And that's when I struggle, is if when I do actually need you, that open door isn't there and the impact that I feel with that. Because it's not like I'm needing somebody, you know, once a week or once a month. It's probably, you know, once a quarter. So I feel like I'm not asking much. And I don't know, when I think back to my days as a care worker or even as a senior care worker, and it's a bit like what we've spoken about in terms of you take on people's emotions and then something happens in your personal life and it very quickly bubbles up and gets, you know, too much. And if you've got nowhere to vent that, I always remember somebody saying to me, you know, if you can't take it to your manager or you can't take it to somebody in your team, then you're going to take it somewhere and ultimately you're going to take it to the people you support. Yes. I think that's always really resonated with me. Yeah. And actually, you know, I don't. Is it bad to be crying in front of somebody you support? Probably not, because you're only human, and it allows them to kind of, you bond on a deeper level. I think you shouldn't be talking about all your personal issues, but but if you're angry about something, that anger is going to go out into that person as opposed to, anything else. But to answer your question in a very long-winded way there, I do have an open door policy. Very much so. Like, I don't mind if people ring me left, right, and centre. Somebody rang me over the weekend at midnight because they were going through. That doesn't bother. I don't have a very good work-life balance, but I honestly do not mind anybody contacting me on whatever form that they need to contact me on, whatever. Go on, Anoushka.
So as you were talking there, Mark, it was really what stood out most was how candid you were about like the real emotion that happens as a manager. And I think that needs to not be overlooked because, it's going back to that whole painting the smile on your face and trying to keep all the balls in the air and all the pressure that's on your shoulders. But you mentioned things like anger and you mentioned kind of frustration and crying because you're only human. Those sorts of things are all very real that I'm sure managers across the board have felt at some point. And one of the things that when we're going back to the grassroots, like that we said at the top of the webinar around energy, is challenging situations like the whistleblowing and, potential inspection on your doorstep and, challenging days, challenging colleagues, challenging relationships, and how to manage that. And one of the tools that I use within the workshop is a visualization tool, which is around kind of visualizing harmony within the team, visualizing challenging situations, being basically rehearsing the perfect day and getting into a space where you can rehearse that perfect day. Is basically getting yourself into top athletes use this. They visualize themselves reaching the finish line. They get themselves to that place. It's exactly the same way as you could do it in terms of, right, we've got CQC on the doorstep, we've got an inspection. Learning how to visualize can dissolve tensions within the team, unhappy relationships or conflicts within the team, but also if you've got a really tricky day ahead, you've got an inspection or you've got a whistleblowing case happening, being able to see that step by step, panning out exactly as you wish it to, is not only a really great way to mentally prepare yourself, because as I say, athletes use this to mentally prepare themselves to see, when you can see it in your mind, you can see the finish line in your mind, you're much more motivated and confident to get there. And the same goes, and this is like an anxiety dissolver. Being able to visualize the end result is such a beautiful way of actually and you can do it in a kind of meditative state, or you can just do it as however you wish, but just being able to mentally rehearse something that's potentially challenging ahead is a really great way to dissolve anxiety. And it's the way I end the whole workshop is getting us into a place of, let's visualize what the rest of this day is going to look like, or tomorrow is going to look like. Let's do it. Let's rehearse it before we even get there. And what that does is essentially, it's like, for some people, it's like prayer. It's like saying, dear God, I wish for a really good day today. For those that believe in a higher power, it's exactly the same. It's you're wishing for something, but you're seeing it in your mind and trusting that it's happened. So when I did a stint of the Care for Carers workshop for international overseas care workers, one of the things that they all had in common was they had some kind of religious belief, and this visualization or for them form of prayer was really easy because this is the stuff that they'd been brought up to do, pretty much. Being grateful was part of their culture, and doing service for others was also part of, like, culturally ingrained. So some of these concepts had stemmed from religion, and what I do is not a religious thing at all, but there are similarities, and the overseas care workers really gripped onto this whole visualizing positivity and visualizing love within the team was just something that came very naturally. But when you've got challenging situations ahead, it's a really great way to just dissolve that fear and anxiety around it.
So again, I love manifestation. I love positive affirmations, and I think it's important to understand that it works both ways as well. So let's take into account Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And if you have that mentality oh, I'm going to go shopping today and it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be so busy. I'm not going to be able to park. I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to find anything that I need. Oh, I'm going to get so stressed. I'm going to come home. I'm going to think, why did I even go out and do it? If you go out with that mindset, all of that will happen. Like all of that will happen. You will be stressed. You will get anxiety. It will be busy. You will struggle to find a parking space because you're blinking and you're thinking that you want to park really close to the store, but actually there's 50 parking spaces further back, and that extra 10-minute walk will probably do you really good and it'll make you feel more positive. So it's around trying to shift that mentality, isn't it, from that negative affirmation, which we all do all the time. Then if you sit there and you go, oh no, can't do positive affirmations, can't do anything like that. Ask yourself how many times you've said to yourself, well, this is going to be a naff day today. My partner and he'll go, I know where this is going. We're going to have an argument. Yeah, but you're putting that out there now. Like you're manifesting that. It's like you're willing that into existence. No, I'm not. I just know we're going to have an argument. Yeah, but we are, because you're saying we're going to have an argument now. No, so no matter what I say,
words are spells.
It's in your mind now. And it's so powerful, the energy that we put out there. We create our own futures. We create our own paths. So I think, that positive affirmation, I don't think we can do enough of it. I literally don't think we can do enough of it.
It doesn't matter how you frame it, whether you want to call it positive mindset or manifestation. It really doesn't matter. The point is, if we go into a situation thinking the worst, we're likely to get the worst outcome. And my example is recently, I've talked about it on LinkedIn, being made redundant recently. I could just give up. Just, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. And several times within a day, I might go there, but I have to keep switching it. And that's the important thing as well. It's like you can get very, very down about what's going on around you, but you can teach yourself to flip the script. And that's what you've got to do. Even if you have to do it several times in a day. And scripting is actually another way that I sometimes, if I can't get there visually, I'll write it, just to get myself into that place of positivity, whatever that might be, even if that means being slightly delusional around it, it's all going to be fine. And when you're not really believing it, but be delusional for a second, because actually the more you say it, repetition is what trains the brain to actually form that neural pathway that says, well, actually that is a possibility. And then you start looking for the ways that could actually happen. So framing your mindset is so powerful, isn't it? As I said, there was a point in which I thought anything that could go wrong was going wrong, and it was spiraling. It was like from redundancy to some other financial stuff. The whole tower was coming down, as we said earlier on. But it's about this realizing that sometimes stuff happens for you rather than to you. And I had to flip the script because I didn't have any choice. And every time I have done that in my life, it has worked out in my favor. And I'm not saying that that's an easy thing, because catastrophes happen, tragedies happen, real traumas happen. And we can't just go skipping along thinking, it's all fine, that so-and-so, this happened and it's all going to be fine. Some really bad stuff does happen, but you can always find a way of getting through it by having a more positive mindset in one way or another. Even in the worst scenarios, you really can get through it if you're in a positive mindset. And equally, it's the spiral effect. And I'm really, really keen to point out that my natural default is to be negative. I've had to do this work on myself because I'm wired to be really negative and to think the worst. And I will spiral quicker than than most people. Just like one thing after another, I'll spiral into negativity, and I have to use these tools to switch my mindset and spiral it the other way around, because just as quickly as you can spiral downwards, you can spiral back up.
Yeah, and 100%. And I know I've shared this quote from a very famous, I would say, philosopher, scholar in the past. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And when Kelly Clarkson sings those words, it's really important to understand that it is so true, because no matter, and I think this is all a lesson in resilience. I mean, life is a lesson in resilience, isn't it? And it's taking from, you've spoken about your dad, I'll speak about mine. My dad died, what are we on now, 7 years ago? Yeah, 7 years ago. It'll be 8 years next year. Horrendous, horrific. Didn't think I'd get through it. It was terrible, the grief and all of that. But actually what I've learned, and I've learned a lot since then, is I've learned from my dad's mistakes. I've learned from what had got him into that position. But I've also learned a lot more about my own time and treasuring my own time and making sure that I spend my time wisely. I'm now sober as part of this journey, and I'm benefiting health-wise. I don't want to die at the same age as my dad, so I'm investing in my health. And for me, I'm not saying I wouldn't have done it if dad hadn't died, but from dad dying, I've taken something from that and gone, right, how do I grow from this? How do I take something from what was a really naff situation for him and learn from it for myself, and be grateful for that? You know, I'm thankful that he was here and I'm grateful that he was alive, but I'm also grateful that I can learn from his death. And I think that was like his last lesson he could give me. And it's really important that it's difficult because people will turn around and say, well, the world's against me. You don't know how hard it is. You don't know how difficult it is. And I understand. Don't get me wrong. We all have those situations, and I can't put myself in the situation of other people. I mean, it's all relative. What might seem trivial to me is world ending for somebody else. I get it, but there is that element of, I mean, it goes back from what we were saying at the beginning, helping ourselves and taking away from that I'm a victim to how do I take control of this now? I go, actually, no, I know me and I deserve the best. I'm going to give me the best and I'm going to bring me the best, no matter how hard that's going to be. Really, really important. And I think everything you've spoken about tonight so far is like resonated down to my core. I feel like I need to go and I don't even need to cleanse with crystals tonight. I feel like I'm seeing. I feel like this is affirming.
There's definitely something there. Sorry, Adam, just interrupting in terms of what you were talking there about finding that positive in everything. And I truly believe that you might have to wait and you might have to reflect, but there is a positive there somewhere in everything. And I think it's that positive that then spurs you on, A, for becoming more resilient in the future, but B, moving on from whatever it is. And it might have been a really difficult situation, or it might have just been something that, you know, really pissed you off or made you angry or whatever, but actually you do learn from that. And Anoushka, one thing you spoke about a minute ago was smiles. And I wrote it down because my kids' old school used to teach them, if you're having a bad day, to just smile at somebody, because they would smile back and it would make you feel better. And I love it when I go to like London with my kids will be like all the time on the train, let's see how many people we can get to smile. And they do. And they'll smile at the person opposite, who will smile back at them. And then like the next one will smile. And people will naturally smile back if you smile at them. The majority of people, I'm not going to say all of them, but I would say 99% of people will smile back.
I'm so glad you brought that up. One of the things that I do is it's a little icebreaker. It's within the workshop and it's harder than it sounds, but I do this smile challenge and I get everyone to smile for 30 seconds. Honestly, it's actually really, it's quite a challenge, but you can see how from beginning, and I do it particularly after we've done some deep journaling work, we've kind of opened the lid on some difficult emotions, doing 30 seconds of smiling and how it shifts your energy. And it actually really does shift. I mean, we don't have to do it here because we'll probably just giggle. But if you try it with your team, that's one thing you can take away is just like in a team meeting, let's just do a 30-second smile challenge. And it does chemically change the way you feel.
I love it. So Mark and I did something similar once at one of our trade show things, because it's one that I absolutely adore. And it wasn't the smile, but similar thing with the endorphins though, laughing yoga. Oh my God. I love laughing yoga, and I've not done it yet with my teams at work because I think they will show me the door and kick me out of the building. But I really want to do laughing yoga at some point with all of our teams at work because it is so fun. Like it's so fun.
There was a comment, actually, Teresa in the comments said laughing with your teams and residents is vital. I wanted to, and she's also put every sunset is followed by sunrise. I love the comments, by the way. Teresa, thank you for those, because laughing with your team and residents, for sure, definitely, it has a ripple effect to the residents' well-being as well.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I do. I absolutely. It's one of those where if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling grumpy, I will sit there in front of a mirror and smile for a little bit because
I can imagine.
I mean, I do sit there and smile and go, "God, you're beautiful now." Oh. And it comes naturally. Then it comes naturally. But no, it is a really good way to sort of lift yourself up because the actual act of smiling releases those positive endorphins, and it's wonderful. We've only got a few minutes left. This is our penultimate show for the year. So after next week, well, Mark's shaking his head.
Well, I had an email today. The person that's meant to be joining us next week can't join us now. So it might be the last show. I don't know. Or unless you want to just do it, you and I, Adam. But yeah, it could be the last. And I do feel like next week was of a similar theme in terms of well-being, but it wasn't as deep as tonight's conversation. But I do feel like well-being should be something that we end on. And I know that one of the questions I've got, which I guess bring in, is around what is something somebody can do for next year. So if you're a leader listening to this, Anoushka, what is one thing that they could do? Oh, is it? Sorry. At least great minds think alike. Go on, you ask it.
No, I'm grateful that you asked that question, Mark. I don't have
to. Yeah, what is one thing, Anoushka, that somebody next year could easily start thinking about over the festive period that will benefit them mental health wise, physically, emotionally?
I'm pretty sure everyone has team meetings. So yeah, I would say leverage the team meeting for more connection within the team, whether that's, a half an hour of, I don't know if it's even enough time, an hour to half an hour to an hour of really getting to understand everyone, where they're at, an open sharing, an open forum of some kind, just for team connection. That's definitely something, even if it's just a open door coffee morning type thing for the staff. But a safe place where people can just kind of share their woes, what's going on, how they're feeling about their roles, that sort of thing. I think that's really important because we do, as a sector, paint the smiles on. Whilst the smile challenge is a good one for shifting your vibration, we can't paint smiles off on top of everything. So having something that kind of lifts the lid on some of the burdens that we carry as empaths, I think that's really important. And yeah, just trying to make time for some of that high vibe stuff, which is supporting one another, running awards for each other, recognition, bigging each other up, giving each other affirmations. I think Teresa's also said words of thank you for the hard work. I think that's a great one to do. End of the year, beginning of the year, celebrate the team, show how proud you are of them. But also for the managers as well. Let's not forget that the staff, it needs to be 360. Let the staff give you support as well and share how they've grown through your leadership, that sort of thing. So yeah, being able to build connection within teams is really important. So anything that you can do to do that is going to help the whole organization.
Yeah. I agree.
I think
that was my question. It was like, oh, sorry, you're going to steal another question, Mark. Off you go.
No, I'm not stealing the question. I was just going to say it's worth remembering that the CQC don't dictate what a team meeting looks like. So you don't need to do the same team meeting every month. So you could do, this could be something once a quarter that you prioritize. Mm-hmm. Is that actually your team meeting is going to be something completely different in the new year?
Absolutely.
That's a good one. I think that is great. No, I think I was just going to say something along the lines of, and I've completely forgotten now. Oh, no. So obviously been in therapy and I'm like a whole new person now, and I feel like proper zen and everything like that. One of the things that I struggled with as a leader, and I know many other people struggle with, and I struggle with it in my own personal life, is accepting that gratitude back. So it's really easy to get it out. It's really easy to go, I'm really proud, this is great, you've done a great job because of X, Y, and Z, and this has been really beneficial because of X, Y, and Z. And then someone will turn around and go, oh, you've really helped me with this, thank you. And I go, that's what I'm here for. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. And actually, one thing that I've taken really by the horns from my therapy is being proud of my own achievements and being grateful that I'm good at what I do, and accepting that gratification back as well. So if I do something and someone says, "Oh, thank you, that really meant a lot," I'll be like, "Oh, you know what? No, don't worry about it. It means a lot that I've been able to do that for you." And that's helped me because I would tend to find myself doing, and then feeling a little bit let down because I just felt like I was giving and giving for giving's sake, if that makes sense. Whereas now I've learned to actually go, actually, I'm really good at what I do and I can achieve what I want to do. And that's helped me with my mentality for when things are a bit naff or when my days are a little bit down. I can just go, I can get through this though. Like I've got through this a million times before. So yeah, a bit of a naff day today, but actually tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort of give my head a bit of a wobble on the way home. I'm going to sing No Good Deeds from Wicked and promise I'm going to do no more good deeds moving forward. But then, actually,
in my mind.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. No, you must learn to put those compliments in your pocket, Adam. Everyone. I think, you know, somebody once said to me, if you push back a compliment, you're insulting other people's intelligence. And I thought, oh, that really hit home. When someone says something nice to you, just accept it, put it in your pocket, and accept it.
I've never thought of it that way, but that is really true. Epiphany. Oh, I'm loving it. Usually my epiphany's in a bath, but like, no, yeah. I can see how it could be offensive to others. It could upset them. It could be a sort of,
you're insulting their intelligence. You're saying that you know better than them. If they say, oh, Adam, your hair looks great today. So, oh, no, it looks terrible. Well, then you're insulting my opinion. I think
yeah.
Teresa also wants to say thank you to you wants to say thank you, Adam, for all you do for us.
Teresa's one of my managers.
I
say one of my managers. That is awful. Teresa's a colleague of mine. Teresa is a colleague of mine, and we work together to create spectacular things. So you're more than welcome, Teresa. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure working with you. I think this is the sort of taster of changing mindsets within the workplace. But let's say I've watched tonight's show and I'm thinking, okay, I get this. I could roll with this. Like, I can see how this could work. How do we get in touch with you, Anoushka? How do we start going, well, actually, I'm going to get in touch with Anoushka now for a little bit more detail? Yeah,
you can go to the website, www.adventuringtherapies.com/thrive together is where you can drop me or you can book a call there, or you could just tap me up on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of the above, or my email, which is also on the website. So yeah, loads of ways to get in touch. But yeah, taking bookings for January now. So if anyone's interested in a workshop, I'd be very happy to come to your workplace.
Lovely. Well, if this is going to be the last show of the year, which is saddening me actually, Mark, that you've sprung this on me.
It doesn't have to be. You can do it next week.
I want from each of us something that we are going to do differently in the new year to be better or to be happier. What are we going to bring ourselves next year that we're going to be able to do to go, actually, my life's going to be better because I'm going to do this?
Okay. I'm going to go first because I've already got one in the bag. Today, I've booked myself a half marathon and I'm going to book myself a full marathon by the end of next year.
Wow.
There we go. That's my challenge.
That is going to be incredible.
Yeah. I'll let you know how New Year's Day goes.
Yeah, dude.
I'm accountable now.
Yeah. Mark.
Well, I won't be doing a half marathon because, you know, I have half lung capacity and a dodgy heart, so I don't think I'd survive it. I don't know. I think this year's been really shit, to be honest, with my health-wise. And I think only in the last month have I think I put it out on my social media a lot, and my family and friends know, but I think internally at work, it was probably in the last month that they really understood kind of the depth of it. And I think it was when I lost my license that kind of the reality of I think my teams knew, but a lot of the back office, the corporate teams didn't, and actually not hiding it. So I think next year I've already decided that I'm going to go through my calendar. I'm going to get rid of the meetings that just bring me like time. You can't get time back. So actually, I'm not going to go to the meetings that bring me absolutely nothing. That bring my team nothing. They're all going to come out and actually spend more time doing things for me, things for the team. So, yeah.
Nice.
I think that's hugely important. And I think I'm really grateful, Mark. I'm getting into this now. I'm really grateful that we have our friendship because we've both been through quite a lot recently, and you more so than probably anyone that I know this year. But it's nice to be able to have that space to be able to discuss and to offload and to just rant and go, do you know what? I can't be doing with this at the minute, and this is stressing me out. And I'm really grateful that we've got that safe space together. I think it's important. I don't know for me next year because usually it's I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to regrow my hair. And I'm like, well, tick, done all of that. I think for me, I'm going to give up social media. I've done that. It's one of those where this is the first sort of 24 months, where I've really stuck to my resolutions and gone, do you know what, I'm going to lose weight. And I did it. I'm going to stop drinking. And I've done it. I'm going to give up social media. pretty much done it. I just, TikTok for funny videos of cats, I don't know, doing the electrics because of AI, and it's hilarious and it's incredible. And I've a year wearing a wig now, and I'm really proud of that sort of resiliency that I have it. And I go to therapy now, and I've been enjoying that. So I think next year for me is reclaiming my family time. I think now, and I think it's not just saying I'm going to have a good work-life balance. It's I'm going to have a really good life-work balance. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to enjoy my life, and I'm going to work alongside of it. I'm going to work alongside of my life, and my life is going to take the sort of forefront. And I've booked most of my annual leave already, and I never do. I usually go into the end of a holiday year with like 3 weeks that I lose, and I've booked the majority of it because I've gone, no, I'm having time off there. I'm having time off here. I'm going to take some time off there, but I'm not going to waste that time off either. I'm going to spend that time doing what I love and what I enjoy, with the people that matter to me. And I think that's my focus now for the new year, because that's going to bring me much joy and much happiness.
High vibration. Love it.
High vibration. Honestly.
My laptop is going to die in 10 seconds. It's on an auto restart.
Okay.
I was trying to get the code, but if I just disappear, I hope everybody has an amazing Christmas. Anoushka, thank you. It's on 2. It's 1. It's going to go. It's going.
Oh, bless him.
It is gone.
Honestly, Anoushka, thank you so much for tonight's show. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. I always feel uplifted and energized once we've spent time together. Even bumping into you at the care shows or anything like that, it's your energy you radiate is gorgeous and lovely. And I think anyone should be blessed to be in your presence. And I think Adventuring Therapies /Thrive Together. Please do get in touch with Anoushka. Happy holidays to anybody who celebrates whatever. Please enjoy your special religious times. If you don't celebrate religious holidays at this time, please just enjoy your time as you would do with your families. This could potentially be us signing off for the year. So this is The Caring View, your online health and social care platform, free to access to absolutely everybody. I don't know how this is going to work because Mark's gone offline and I can't end this live, which is really bizarre because I don't have the button. So I think we might just need to close our screens down, and that might take us offline. And then one thing I will do in the new year is have a look at a new streaming platform, because this one is starting to drive me nuts. But I have the power to change that, and that is what I'm going to do. So Anoushka, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Please take that really positive energy into the new year. I know I am going to do. And hopefully we will see more of each other in the next 12 months.
Yes, we'll do. Thank you, Adam. Have a good one.
You too. Now, God bless.